Hello, everyone. My name is Laura Williams, and I am the principal here at ECS Intermedia School. And I would like to welcome you to our virtual open house. At the beginning of this presentation, I would like to talk about the vision of ECS Intermediate. And our vision is to value every member of our school community, students, parents, guardians, staff, and community partners, ensuring that Black and Brown students and students situated in poverty are supported, and encourage all members to contribute to the overall success of ECS members and the greater good. We will know that we are successful when all of our students are successful. So as you can see in our vision statement, value, every, and contribute are in green. That's just to emphasize that we value every member of our school community, and we give them a pathway to contribute to the success of our building. We are also very student focused when we say that we are successful when all of our students are successful. Equity plays a huge role in all of this, and as an anti-racist organization, we are committed to this mission. What a day at the intermediate school looks like. We have literacy, math, environmental literacy, me time, which is my excellence time. And this time is 30 minutes per day, where a student will receive specific supports and intervention, as well as extension to help them in their studies. We have specials, 50 minutes, and they get one special per day: PE, thinking lab, Spanish, music, edible schoolyard. And as we go through the presentation, staff members will be giving you additional information on this content and subjects. 30 minutes for recess and 30 minutes for lunch. Arrival is 7:50 to 8:20 a.m. and dismissal is 3:20 to 3:50 p.m. Teachers are departmentalized here at ECS Intermediate, so we have literacy and math teachers for each grade, 3rd through 5th grade. We have 11-to-1 student to faculty ratio, technology integration, differentiation, and we have looping. Students and teachers in 3rd and 4th grade loop. And some benefits to this is one, the students and teachers already have built a relationship rapport by being with each other, as well as the teacher is aware of the academic growth areas and strengths that students have. So at the beginning of the school year, they could hit this and run with it, making sure that the students make academic growth. Our 5th grade is actually a 5th grade academy. They have the content and subjects like the other grades based on the 5th grade level, but they also have skills incorporated in it, so they'll be able to gain more independence and be advocates for themselves, which is very important because they need these skills as they transition to middle school. Building classroom community and actually school-wide community is a big thing here at ECS because we want to make sure that we grow citizens. So we have home-based meetings where they will come together. Everyone is welcome there. There's a daily share. There's grade level community times, which is again a time where relationships are built and the students are able to do activities together at a particular grade level. And we have Frick Park. It's nestled right next to ECS Intermediate School, so they might want to go on hikes, do other functions or activities in the parklet. So these are grade level community times. We have character trait lessons. So what's great about these character trait lessons is that each month we focus on one particular character trait. It could be curiosity, creativity, collaboration, joy. All these are character traits. And we have literature that will also accompany these traits, so the students will be able to see real life application of these traits. And each month, a student that demonstrates this trait is actually honored by the school. And the classmates actually vote on the student who might demonstrate creativity more than anyone else. And the classmates see this and would like to honor their fellow student for this. We also have school-wide positive behavior systems. So the way of being at ECS Intermediate is being kind, being responsible, and being safe. And if the students demonstrate kind, responsible, and safe, they are able to get a ticket, and every staff person will be able to give them this ticket. They will bring it down to the office and put it in a box, and each box has a prize associated with it. We have dress down day, lunch DJ, or a mystery bag day, and they will be able to place this ticket in that box. And we have a weekly drawing and pull tickets from them, and the students will get that reward. So now I would like to turn it over to Ms. Yu, who will be talking about mathematics.
Math instruction at ECS is centered around building global thinkers and problem solvers. Student mastery progression follows the CRA model, exposing students to content concretely, representationally, and then abstractly. This promotes conceptual understanding of content before engaging with procedural problem-solving methods. Our students find value in constantly seeking the why. Understanding why a given process works allows our mathematicians to think flexibly in the face of complex problems. Math at the intermediate school follows a blended workshop model. Each lesson begins with a number talk to strengthen mental math, build fluency, and support the development of number sense. Following a whole group mini lesson, students spend the bulk of their math class engaging with content in Math Workshop. Math Workshop includes activities, games, and puzzles, as well as Eureka-based independent practice. A workshop model allows students to spend more time working independently and applying skills in small group settings. Gameplay is at the core of our math instruction because it encourages strategic thinking, repeated practice, computational fluency, and a strong home-to-school connection. Many students bring math games from Math Workshop home to share with their families. Aligning with our mission at ECS, math classes here emphasize joy, engagement, creativity, and innovation.
At ECS, our mission is to grow citizens. An essential component of that is to grow readers and writers. At ECS, our literacy instruction is based in the Lucy Calkins Units of Study for Reading and Writing, based out of Teachers College and Columbia University. ECS follows the workshop model to lead students in their journey as readers and writers. This model allows for students' interests and values to be at the core of the curriculum and promotes autonomy in the process and pace of learning. Within this model, students are constantly reflecting on their work, setting goals, and growing in their literacy skills. Throughout each literacy classroom at ECS, you will hear teachers discussing with students ways to find books they love, helping students find just right books, and instructing students to read books like they are gold. It is not surprising at ECS to walk into a classroom and hear students say, "Can you read one more chapter?" or gasp when they hear a cliffhanger in a book. Our reading and writing workshop allows for students to experience the love of reading, a large volume of reading, and rigorous instruction of complex skills and strategies that are accessible to students through the differentiation in the workshop model. At ECS, we work to bring books into the classroom that are windows and mirrors for all of our students. Mirrors are books in which students can see themselves, build self-understanding, and make students feel part of the literacy community. Books that are windows are books that feature characters who do not look like students themselves, but affirm differences, build empathy, and make students feel a part of a larger community in our world. ECS also utilizes the units of study for writing. Similar to the volume of reading a student will do, students will also participate in a volume of writing, filling up pages and pages in their writer's notebooks. Students are known as writers in our school and are celebrated and seen as authors. It is not uncommon to see a student who wants to keep working on their story at lunch or recess, or a student who eagerly wants to share their writing with the class. Our students have so many powerful thoughts and ideas to share with the world, and our workshop model allows them to communicate their unique thoughts and creativity with others. The workshop model allows for teachers to work with students one-on-one or in a small group to continually lift the level of their writing while they are in our classrooms. Students are taught a repertoire of strategies that allows them to articulate powerful thoughts with the world. Both reading and writing are seen as collaborative experiences in which we build a reading and writing community in our classrooms. Students work with one another to develop ideas about their books, provide feedbacks and thoughts about their peers' writing, share book recommendations with others, make their own book clubs, and celebrate the success of others in the literacy classroom. At ECS, our literacy department hopes not just to help students become better readers and writers, but empower all of our students as lifelong readers and writers.
Hi, I'm Mr. West. Environmental literacy at ECS is the exploration of how people interact with each other and with their environments, natural and man-made. It combines environmental and social science, other sciences, and social justice studies in the context of current issues and historical pursuits, as well as scientific and social development. Many of our projects connect directly with local interests and partnerships. One such example of a project that connected the 21st century skills of critical thinking, communication, collaboration, character, and creativity was the Beyond Mars Rocket Challenge. With NASA and SpaceX preparing for human exploration of Mars, we challenged student teams with the mandate to develop and test a model launch system that could travel as far as or beyond our closest planetary neighbor in our simulated solar system, the baseball field. They consulted with a CMU engineering student and simulated test designs using the same software that their rocket club uses to design their rockets. Students then collaborated on design and building of model rockets that we tested and evaluated as a class. The collaborative nature of group projects and interdependent contributions facilitates opportunities to growing social awareness and interpersonal skills. Mindfulness practices are embedded explicitly and implicitly. For example, we begin many classes with a mindful moment, and magic spots are places to slow down and observe nature. Noticing walks are hikes where a particular sense or topic is the focus of observation. And connections are made between the ways we discover and learn and the brain science supporting a growth mentality. Our program has been structured to enhance the accessibility of our EL curriculum. Many of our outdoor explorations are guided, but some have an extensive amount of student choice to discover whatever draws their interest at that moment. With various planned levels of access, there are successes available to every student, and space for them to dig deeper to the appropriate level of challenge for them at that moment in their academic development. While students are learning remotely, we've also created virtual hikes and independent exploration options to accommodate students at their level of access to outdoor natural spaces like parks and gardens. And the way we do EL is definitely evolving. As our curriculum is developed, more of our EL elements have been spread into other subjects as well. We now track science and social studies standards in Thinking Lab and edible schoolyard classes, in addition to our traditional EL class units and explorations. A new addition to give students the freedom to extend their learning to varying levels of challenge is the Exploration Workshop, run by our gifted coordinator and accessible to all students at their choice. Exploration Workshop includes literacy, math, curiosity, and environment options. Such an interdisciplinary approach to learning builds the kind of authenticity that keeps students engaged and helps learning stick. Students who have graduated that return for visits often recount their EL exploits of years past in astounding detail. Some of our many partners that we've incorporated into EL units and projects include the Carnegie Museum of Natural History, Mellon Rocket Command, which is a student-led rocket club competitive team, and the Pittsburgh Parks Conservancy. Some other examples of environmental literacy units we've done include an interactive guide to trees of Frick Park. Students created a website with a clickable Google map of a portion of the park featuring their adopted trees, which they visited many times throughout the year. professional botanist from Pittsburgh Parks Conservancy, visited to aid in species identification and guide students in research into the age and condition of their trees. Throughout the unit, students filled their web pages with scientific observations, sketches, and photographs of their trees, as well as poetry and other artistic expressions inspired by their trees. In the Sustainable Town unit, students acted as a simulated town council to debate decisions about how to design and power their town. Once an energy choice was made, they built a model of their town, including an interactive model element showing how their chosen energy source would work. EL units connect with standards and practices that are appropriate for their grade level and yet evolve over time to connect with our changing world, giving each student group a unique experience.
Hi, my name is Chelsea Young, and I'm one of the Thinking Lab teachers here at ECS. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about our specials classes at the intermediate building. Now, they don't call them specials for no reason. They are truly a special part of our students' day. Now, our specials are a place where students can explore different parts of themselves and what they're interested in. A student who might not flourish in their literacy or math classes, we see them really come to life in our classes with hands-on experiences, movement, creative expression, things like that. In specials, we make time for experiences that we hope will spark joy and help them develop a lifelong connection to things like art, creativity, design thinking, joy of music, making music, appreciating music, moving, choosing the right activity for themselves, different languages, different cultures, and cooking, gardening, planting, all of these things. So there's a lot going on in our specials. During the times that we see them, we want to hopefully make moments that will nourish the whole child. Now that we've talked about the importance of specials to a student, let's talk about what it looks like at ECS. So we operate on a 5-day cycle. There's 5 specials, so we normally see each student once a week. During that time, we're doing some really cool stuff. We've got Thinking Lab, Health and PE, Music, Spanish, and Edible Schoolyard. So let's look a little bit closer at those. The first special that I'm going to talk about is Thinking Lab. I teach Thinking Lab along with my co-teacher, Ms. Papa. And Thinking Lab is a unique class to ECS. It's the integration of art, science, and design. And we like to say we learn something about science and we communicate it through art. Also, sometimes we're doing art processes that we're learning the science behind. In our class, we're encouraging creativity and problem solving and sparking curiosity. In our next special, Health and Physical Education, Ms. Gregory is educating minds, developing healthy bodies, and promoting positive attitudes towards lifetime physical activity. She really believes that students are going to be active their entire lives if they find something that they love to do. So in her class, she's encouraging them to make right choices for themselves. She's also teaching them about being healthy and making healthy choices at home and beyond. In our music class, Mr. R is fostering an appreciation of different musical genres, finding joy in singing, and using hands-on activities to construct musical knowledge. If you sit in on one of his classes, you will see the joy that students have for the music that he plays. Whether it's Name That Tune or getting ready for a winter concert, these kids are excited. In Spanish, Senorita Gallagher is exploring the language and cultures of the Spanish-speaking world. She's using hands-on activities in songs to develop vernacular skills. Our Spanish program is semi-new to ECS, but it is really flourishing and the kids are getting super excited about learning a new language. Finally, we have Edible Schoolyard. When students come to the intermediate building, this is a new special to them. Edible Schoolyard with Mrs. Keller The students are planting and maintaining and harvesting our many garden beds that you'll notice out in the front of our school. They are acquiring cooking skills, so they're literally cooking in their class through hands-on kitchen experiences. And they're fostering an appreciation of the food we eat and the people who grow and prepare it. They prepare their own food. They learn how to set tables. They learn how to show appreciation towards their classmates before they eat together, and they learn how to clean up, which is the best. And that's just a brief overview of the many, many things that we are doing in specials.
Hi, my name is Nick Tutelo. I am the assistant principal here at the Intermediate School. I've been here at the school for quite a long time, and I appreciate everything my colleagues had to say up until this. Just really talking about our programming and what we do here at ECS that maybe makes us a little bit different or a little bit special. Another one of those things that we really like to add into our curriculum is this thing called Me Time, which stands for My Excellence. This is a time where students are given a chance to find their excellence through intervention or additional practice or enrichment, and really hit the students on their level and get them what they need at that moment in time. So there's all kinds of different things that happen during this time, and it's really just based on what your student needs at any given time during the school year. These happen daily, so one math and one literacy time happens daily, and they're in differentiated groups that are determined by data through our MAPS assessment or through anecdotal data or whatever the teacher understands about your child, because really over the course of years we do start to get to know your child and how they learn best. And I would be remiss in not including this into the presentation and into what I'm talking about, because equity is truly something that we try to focus on and lead with. It is the lens through which we look at all of our different work. Because we know if we're not truly intentional about what it is we do around equity, then the outcomes are going to be the same. So we like to look at, where do we want to go? And ultimately, we want to see every single student in our school building being able to feel safe and feel like this building is a place to be and learn and grow. And then we look at the systems that we have at our school and how we can alter them or how we create them in order to make more equitable outcomes. And realize, while we've taken the stance as being an anti-racist school, we are not there yet, and we're always on our journey, and we're always trying to do better by our students and families of color in all different ways. And this is something that we'll continue to be working on for as long as we are a school, because it's something that we need to continually refine and be intentional about in order to make us better as an institution. Another thing here is our restorative practices. So what is it? Well, a lot of schools like to talk about restorative practices, and everybody has their own little bend on what it actually is and how it plays out in their school. And part of that is based on the culture at the school. Restorative practices actually plays into how schools operate and how their culture looks and how the school feels. Because first off, when we're talking about restorative practices, we're talking about a way of being and a way of growing into our students and building that community where students feel safe and feel like they really are a part of something, and they know how to become a part of an effective member of our community, and really goes into our vision of growing citizens. So when we're talking about building that culture, we're building one that has that positive attributes where we're helping one another, that idea of collectivism. And, when something goes wrong in the classroom, and inevitably at some point in the history, most students are going to make a mistake. Harm is going to be done. And what is important for our students to understand is how they can walk themselves back from that harm and how they can restore themselves to that community. So rather than just handing out a bunch of different punishments and telling you, you did this, so therefore you're going to be getting detention or you're going to be suspended. We have to do something different. Those things may be a part of the conversation, but what is more important is that conversation around how we can get students to restore their place in our community and be successful as a citizen of our community. And it takes part in just asking those simple questions like, what happened? And how can we make it right? Who was harmed? And then working with that student in order to lead them to, or have them come up with that idea is, how can I restore and repair the harm that I caused in the community? And this is a lot more work. But at the end of the day, this truly is something that is worth it and really ends up working for our students. And then they start having these conversations and it starts to be a part of who they are moving forward. And I want to lastly just thank you for listening. I appreciate you taking the time, and I know it's a very difficult decision as to where to send your student, and because they really are our most precious resources.
Hi, my name is Kristen Abesels, and I'm the Director of After School here at the Environmental Charter School. Welcome to ECS. I'm going to take a brief moment and tell you a little bit about what we do in After School, and I hope that I get to meet you soon as you take advantage of our programming. If you're in need of after-school care, we offer Extended Day, also known as E-Day. We offer 3 and 5 day packages per week. If you decide to use the 3-day option, the schedule is flexible, so you may change that schedule on a weekly basis as needed. Know that after school looks something like this. When your student is done with their academic day, they're escorted by their teacher to Extended Day, where they're greeted by our after-school instructors. What they do is they put their belongings away, and then they get signed in, and then they move into the cafeteria where they have a healthy snack and plenty of social time. Once we conclude with that period, we move into big body movement. And that can look different based on the weather, but of course outside is priority. And then we offer indoor activities as well in the gym, or they might choose to do a more social time where it's board games, free art, and playing. After that, we move into our activity periods. And again, based on their age, there's a variety of activities offered every day. Everything you can think of, from makerspace to cooking, to free art, to animation, to drama, to dance, to drumming. And for our older students, we even offer a guided homework lab. And then the day, of course, wraps up with more play, especially outside. Again, we're always focused on having our students outside. So I'm going to warn you now, they're going to be dirty and they're going to be tired, but they will be happy if they spend their day with us in E-Day. We also offer a Ready Care Pass, and essentially that's on-demand care. So if you have a meeting that's going to run late, or even that your car is going to be at the mechanics, you can simply schedule a 1-day pass to come into Extended Day. Now, to learn more, visit our school website, and there you'll see our tuition rates, our scholarship rates for families that need that discount, and how to enroll. But let me warn you, don't hesitate, because our seats are limited in Extended Day. If you think you're going to need after school, I recommend signing up soon. Before I let you go, I want to tell you a little bit about our clubs. We do offer clubs from grades 1st through 5th, and the themes and the offerings change by season. So the best way to learn about clubs is to stay abreast by signing up for our newsletter, following us on social media, and of course, enrolling for the Google Calendar from ECS. There you'll learn all about the clubs, what's going to be offered, what day of the week, the costs, and how to enroll. Clubs are offered in the autumn and in the winter, and we have a spring session too. So again, welcome to ECS. I hope I get to meet you, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.
I'm going to be sharing a brief overview of some of the school counseling services that we offer at ECS. So at the top of this page, I just wanted to note that we do have more information on the website. We are also in progress for developing a virtual learning webpage that will have more information that may be more specific to the virtual learning environment that we're in right now. So at ECS, we're really fortunate to have one counselor per building. And actually, in our middle school building, we also house our 9th grade academy. So we have a middle school counselor, and we also have one counselor for our 9th grade academy. We're also very fortunate in that our administration supports us to be able to follow our national model and make sure that counselors are able to interact with all students. So our goal is to support their social, emotional, academic, and career development. When we explain our role to students, we typically say that we're another person who's here to help be sure that students are feeling comfortable and safe and able to be the best student that they can be. So what that looks like is a lot of preventative supports. We push into classrooms with teachers to teach preventative lessons. We hold fun lunches. Those are opportunities for students to have lunch in the counseling office with some friends. And those are primarily for new students or to just help with some peer connections. Students like to have those lunches and they're really fun, so they're usually by student request. We also support our new students and students transitioning to new loops of teachers and new grades. We also spend a lot of time with responsive supports. So counselors can work with students who might need some short-term goal-focused work, either in a small group or individually. If we feel like we need to speak with a student on a regular basis, we'll reach out to parents for written permission and talk about that scope and sequence that we're thinking about. If a student's just having a tough day or they need a check-in, we can always do that, and we can always respond to crisis and support there if needed. We consult with staff, parents, and other helping professionals in the school and in the community. Another part of our work is coordination. So we coordinate and collaborate daily with staff, parents, and outside professionals. We're active members of different school leadership teams like Equity and Culture Committee and Crisis Management. And we chair and facilitate some programs like our Student Assistance Program, GSSU, our mentoring program, and peer mediation programs. And we help support a lot of the service learning projects that happen. So for instance, Veterans Day is one of the service learning activities that's typically sponsored by the counseling department. We can help families also with referrals to community agencies. We collaborate a lot with our social workers on that piece. And counselors are the coordinators for many of our 504 service agreements. So if your child does have a 504 or may potentially need a 504 service agreement to support their learning, we will be your point person for that. So again, this is a brief school counseling overview. More information is online and will be uploaded to those new web pages soon. Of course, in the virtual world, school counseling looks a little bit different. So we aren't able to push into classrooms in real time, but we do plan to push out classroom lessons virtually and still be able to hold some of our small groups and things as needed through Zoom and Google Meets and things like that. If you have any questions about school counseling, please feel free to reach out to me. My contact information should be available on the website. My email is just my name, beth.flynn@ecspgh.org. Thanks.
ECS has 2 school social workers. Jessica Siegel works with students in grades K to 5, and Vanessa Veltri works with students in grades 6 through 9. Our main goal is to work to remove barriers to success through focusing on 3 areas: the child, family, and community. ECS school social workers are available to offer support in a number of areas, including connection to family basic needs, mental or behavioral health services, and community outreach. Please feel free to reach out to social workers by phone or email to discuss how we might support your students and your family.
Hi, this is Christine Adams from the Environmental Charter School. I'm the enrollment manager. Today we're going to talk about the enrollment process, how to apply, and then we are going to talk about the lottery and the preferences in the lottery. So how to apply? We use a software system called SchoolMint. So up there at the very top of the form is the address that you use in order to sign up for an application and to create an application. Applications every year are open from October 1st and they close January 31st at midnight. Any of those applications received at that time are eligible for our lottery. The documents you need to apply are proof of age. We really like to have a birth certificate. If you don't have a birth certificate, we can use immunization records. If your child does have a sibling that will be attending ECS, we require a birth certificate at the time of enrollment of the sibling. The birth certificate proves sibling preference. So our siblings is defined as having one or two or more common guardians or parents in common. So just make sure that if you have a sibling that you use a birth certificate. Then we need proof of residency. So we need something that's tied to your house. So utility bill, gas, water, electric, or public assistance letter will do. And this is probably the most important thing. If you have a gas, water, electric, or public assistance letter, it must be current. So it must be dated after September 1st. So we start taking applications October 1st. So we need any of those documents, but they have to have a date on it after September 1st. So if you apply and your gas bill was created on August 25th, we cannot accept that. It has to be dated after September 1st of 2020. So just make sure our lottery is validated by a public accounting firm. If you don't have that proof of residency dated at that, we will contact you and you'll have to give us another proof of residency. So we can validate that you live in the city of Pittsburgh or you live outside the city of Pittsburgh. So if you don't have one of these above documents, please email Kristen Abeshouse at kristen.abeshouse@ecspgh.org. So just to let you know, we no longer accept leases because of the ability to just create a lease online. One of the, a lot of school districts that we send the applications to don't accept leases anymore. And plus leases are typically 12 pages and we only need 1 page. And it's easiest to upload 1 page of utility bill or a public assistant letter. So if you do upload a gas, water, or electric bill, take a picture of the whole bill that has your address on it and everything else. We just need that. If you want to block out some of the things on the bill, you can definitely do that. But the whole page would be beneficial to have instead of just a part of the bill. So those are the documents. If you need any assistance, Kristen Abeshouse can assist you in that. So for the lottery, like I said before, any application we receive between October 31st and January 31st is eligible for our lottery. So if you apply February 1st at 12:01, your application will be marked post-enrollment and your application will be added to the post-lottery waiting list in the order that it was received. So any of those applications, so if you apply October 1st or you apply January 31st, you're still eligible for that lottery. So just make sure you apply within that. If you apply later than that, your application will be added to the post-lottery waiting list in the order that was received. The lottery is always the third Tuesday of February. Lottery results will be received within 24 hours of the lottery. So last year, we ran our lottery. The public accounting firm that I talked about before that validates our lottery is there. They make sure that the lottery runs smoothly and that everyone is accounted for. And then they run a validation of it. And then once they sign off on it, we release those records. So I think last year it took about an hour. So people received the results within 1 hour. And so typically the lottery is at 10 a.m. and people had the, whether they got accepted or not, by 12 that day. So once we run the lottery, there's 2 emails that go out. So it's either that you got accepted or that you got waitlisted. If you got accepted, you can move on to the registration. If you got waitlisted, you'll have to log back into Schoolmint to check the status of your waitlist number. So once you log in, it will have your child's name, a W and an L and a number. That's your child's waitlist number. If you want to check that number daily, weekly, monthly, you can do that. So you can log on as much. As soon as I let someone off the waiting list, that number changes and goes up 1. So you can always check the status of your waitlist number after the lottery by logging back onto SchoolMint. Also, just to let you know, if you apply online, if you apply with your phone, you can take a picture of your proof of birth and proof of residency. It's really easy to upload it right from there. So we'll talk about preferences in the lottery. So who comes first? So we have all these different preferences in the lottery, and we'll go through each one. So our first one is sibling of currently enrolled students. So if you have a child already enrolled and you have a child coming in, that's the first preference. So we have siblings of currently enrolled students, and that would be in district. So we are a charter school that's authorized by the Pittsburgh Public Schools. Therefore, according to state law, we have to give preference to people that live in the Pittsburgh Public Schools. All of our buildings are in the PPS district, so we have to give preference to Pittsburgh Public Schools. So we have the first preference is siblings attending in district. Then we have siblings attending out of district. So that would be anyone in surrounding districts. So that would be Woodland Hills, Penn Hills, anywhere actually you can apply that's out of district. And if you live so busing can only be provided if you live within 10 miles of our school. Then we have something called siblings applying in district. And that would also be, the first preference would be Pittsburgh Public Schools. So during the lottery, let's say you have a kindergartner and a second grader applying. Your kindergartner gets a spot in the lottery. Then it would go, because we run the lottery, kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, all the way up to, it will be 10th grade next year. So we have kindergarten and you have a second grader. Your kindergartner gets in, the computer goes and tags the second grader and gives them sibling applying preference. Let's say the opposite happens. Your kindergartner doesn't get in and your second grader does get a spot. Then the computer goes back and tags the kindergarten student and gives them preference on the waiting list. So they'll move up the waiting list. Let's say your kindergartner was number 50. Your second grader gets in, the computer goes back, pushes your kindergartner up the waiting list to whatever, 1, unless there's another sibling applying, and then it would pick which number came first on the waiting list. So it doesn't remove someone that already got those 78 spots, but it does give them preference on the waiting list. And we've never had a time in my 4 years at ECS that we haven't moved someone off the waiting list. Then we have sibling applying out of district. Then we have a preference called children of school employees, and that would be only ECS employees. They have to work 1 full year at ECS before they can apply for the preference in the lottery. And that goes in district, which would be PPS, and then that goes out of district. Then our main preference right here would be all those in-district students. After we do sibling of a currently enrolled student, sibling applying, employee, then we have the in-district students and we pull from in-district students. Then we pull from out-of-district students. And then we have free and reduced lunch additional weight. So in order to increase the economic diversity of the Environmental Charter School, any child that qualifies for free and reduced lunch gets an additional weight in the lottery. So instead of getting 1 ticket, they get 2 tickets. So if you would get that additional weight in the lottery. So how does the lottery work? So the computer randomly assigns every application a number based on those preferences. If you do have twins, because this comes up a lot, if you do have twins, each twin gets their own number. So if one of the twins got picked, then the other one would get tagged as sibling applying preference. And then they would come right after them. So the twins do stick together in the lottery. So the computer randomly assigns every applicant a number. And then based on those numbers, they fill those seats. So for instance, Kindergarten has 78 seats. So they would go through those preference. Siblings of currently enrolled students would come first, in district, then out of district. Then it would be as those preferences goes down. So, and then we do open up another class in first grade. So we have 3 kindergarten classrooms of 78 students, 3 kindergarten classrooms of 26 students for a total of 78 students in kindergarten. Then in first grade, we open up an additional classroom. So we have 4 classrooms of 26 students. So we have 104 in kindergarten through 9th grade. So that is our maximum amount of students in each grade is 104. So if you don't get in kindergarten, I would say apply in first grade. There's an additional chance to get in. And then even in 2nd and 3rd grade, there's always a chance to get in. So the computer randomly assigns numbers. So what we would do is we'd pick the first 78, and then we would start with waitlist number 1 all the way down to the end. And I wish that I could give you a statistic on the chances that your student will get in. So it changes year to year and grade to grade. So some years we have more movement in certain grades and other years we don't. So it just all depends on the year and the grade. So I wish I could have a magic ball and let you know. Typically, we see movement in the top 10 to 20 per grade level. It just all depends on the year and the grade. But typically 20, about waitlist number 20 might have a chance. So I know my son applied for first grade. He applied for kindergarten. He didn't get in. He applied for first grade. I think he was waitlist number 15 and he didn't get in that year. I think he ended up waitlist number 3 for the whole year. So it just, it just all depends. So which seats do you have? So we have the open seats in the wait list that I kind of talked about. So we fill those seats and then we create the wait list. And so don't give up. So the waiting list is active until the school year you are applying for is over. So for the 2021-22 school year, though, that wait list will stay active until the year is over. So let's say that your child is number 1 on the waiting list, and then in January, someone moves, we will offer you that spot. So you can accept or decline that spot, and then we move forward. So just to let you know, once the lottery happens, if you first get in, you will have about till the end of March to accept or decline the spot. And then after March happens, you have 3 business days to accept or decline that spot. So we typically do onboarding events in March, and we give the chance of all the students that got accepted a chance to come to the school and see what a day in the life of ECS is about. They're on the half days, so the parents come and the children come. Children meet their teachers and do some fun activities with the teacher, and then parents can go and find out more about the school. Last year was our first year that didn't happen. Our first onboarding event was supposed to be March 13th. And as you know, the whole state of Pennsylvania closed down on March 13th, so we weren't able to have it. But we typically like to get parents and students in to see the school. So hopefully this year we can do something to onboard. So we typically invite the first 20 on the waiting list. So if you are on the waiting list, I would advise you to come to those events, see what the school is. So when you do get an acceptance, or you do get a spot off the waiting list, that you are prepared to make the decision of if you want to come or not, because you only really have 3 business days. And you can definitely contact the principal, the assistant principal, myself, Kristen Abe's house, anyone that can help you make that decision. So if you have any questions when you get accepted, please reach out to us so we can answer any of your questions. Thank you for joining our virtual open house today, and hopefully we can see all of you soon.